11:35, Dave Kaufman sitting in for Leslie on CJ 8800. You can follow me on Twitter at The Kaufman Show, where you will get a full rundown of my wonderful long weekend in Cooperstown, New York, attending the Hall of Fame ceremony where Tim Raines, Montreal Expos great, was inducted. I was there along with Jay Farrar and many other colleagues and friends from the radio station. Drove down with my sister on Thursday afternoon and stopped for nostalgia's sake in Lake George, somewhere that we used to go when I was a kid. Is pretty much the halfway point between Montreal and New York City. And it's quaint. And, well, we found the best darn pizza I've ever had in my life. My goodness, this pizza was so good that I'm going to go back and go to court in Lake George to fight a parking ticket that I probably would plead guilty for and just send the money under another circumstance. But I want this pizza. What happened? Amy and I parked our car by the water, and there was a meter there, and right away I realized I didn't have any American change on me. So I went to the deli across the street, and the person behind the counter very kindly broke my dollar bill, gave me 4 quarters. I walked back to the parking meter, popped 3 of them in, and everything was fine. Put the 4th quarter in, and then it said error on the machine. And I thought, okay, well, usually there's a number on this. I'll call the number. No number to call. So no more change. Already sunk $1 into this parking meter. And I thought, you know what? Let's go for pizza. So we went up for pizza, and we rolled back down the hill less than an hour later. Amazing, amazing, amazing pizza. And there was a ticket on the windshield. $20 was the ticket, which, Jay, I'm not going to lie, I kind of chuckled at the $20 parking ticket. I know that's like $100 Canadian, but it was nice to see a $20 parking ticket and not, the normal 37 or 52 that you see around here. So looking at the ticket, and I'm trying to figure out what I should do. You can just put it in the mail right away. And I could have paid the $20 then and been done with it. And then, I had my pizza lunch and everything would have cost X plus 20 for the stop in Lake George. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll fight this. You can plead not guilty, and then you get a letter back whenever with a court date. Do I really want to spend more than the cost of the ticket in gas just because I'm right? Or do I just really want to get that pizza again? Let's discuss what I'm supposed to do and how much trouble I'd be in if I didn't pay it, and all the other permutations here with Avi Levy from Ticket 911. Hello, Avi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm good. Was that a long, rambling story? For a long story short, I got to pay it?
It was a good story. Yeah,
Thank you.
That pizza sounds really good.
It was so good, man. It was so good.
But I understand your frustrations with the ticket. I mean, that's clearly understandable, and you probably should go back and fight it if you feel strongly about it, notwithstanding the time and, cost it's going to cost you, because obviously you're not doing it for the money at that point. It's more a question of principle.
It's just the principle, exactly.
Right. But, I mean, you've got a good story. You've got a good defense. I mean, you put money in, and the meter was faulty. And basically, if you go and explain your story to the judge, you should be able, with that story, to raise a reasonable doubt and therefore be acquitted. Then you can go have your pizza.
See, which is interesting because I'm getting some text messages and tweets in saying, don't worry about a U.S. parking ticket. Only moving violations are kept on the books. Parking tickets get wiped out. Is that true?
I wouldn't rely on it. Nowadays with computers and whatnot, and because it's the state of New York, and the state of New York has a reciprocity agreement with the province of Quebec, I wouldn't necessarily take that chance. They may not give you any grief over here, but if you have an outstanding parking ticket in New York State and you end up going back to New York State and you get pulled over for whatever reason, it could be an issue.
Sure, but let's assume that I'm usually pretty good, and the only time I get a ticket is when the system conspires against me and the meter doesn't work, right?
Right.
So I'm wondering if I would ever actually face a situation where they would say, "Oh, you have an unpaid parking ticket in Lake George, New York."
The problem is it's a chance that you would take. And look, if it happened in Quebec, they could impound the car. They could suspend your driver's license. I mean, an unpaid parking ticket suspends your driver's license, which gives you a whole series of other problems. If that were to happen in New York and you were the only one in the car, wouldn't be fun for a $20 bill. So I would say either fight it or pay it, but don't just do nothing with it, because that'll be more of an issue than anything else.
We're speaking with Avi Levy from Ticket 911, and I'm curious about not having proof. Should I have taken a photo of the meter with the sign that said error or faulty or whatever it said?
You could have, but your own testimony is proof.
Is it?
Your own testimony will hold up. And I don't think that anybody else is going to show up there to contradict what you're going to say. And at best, the person that gave you the ticket is going to say, well, when I showed up, there was an error there, which will probably even corroborate more your story.
Okay, so they're not going to be out to make this hard on me. And if anything, the judge seeing me show up and knowing that it's costing me more to show up, that could count in my favor?
I think maybe in the back of his mind it may. Legally it doesn't. Legally it's not an argument, but in the back of his mind it may hold water. And I can definitely tell you that with your version of the story, you probably would get the benefit of the doubt and therefore be acquitted.
Do I butter him up and tell him I only came back for the pizza?
You can do that. I'm sure that'll make him laugh. A little humor never hurt anyone.
Okay. Mike Bell tweeting in at me and saying that I should have just photographed the problem or flagged down a local cop.
That would have been a good idea, but I mean, sometimes it's not always easy and it's not always practical. And you were heading out to lunch or whatnot. A photograph would have definitely helped. But like I say, it's not essential. If you don't have it, hopefully the proof on the police officer's ticket will say that there was an error or there was a...
And there went Avi Levy, I think. But that's okay. We appreciate his time and his effort. And, Ticket 911, Matthew Guite, the website is ticket911.ca. So if you have any ticketing problems, that's where you go. People are asking me the name of the restaurant. It was Giuseppe's, I believe, was the name of the pizza place in Lake George. And we have Avi back. There you go. Hey, Avi, you are back. You got cut off there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. The American judge was listening. He didn't like what you were saying.
Well, listen, I think, like I say, if you go with your story... and if you go with the witness that was there with you, that'll probably help if it's possible. Again, not essential.
Yeah, but then I'm ruining my sister's day, too. I've got to drag both of us down to New York for an afternoon. I mean, she did like the pizza, too. But
well, I mean, if you go down there with more than one person, it'll definitely help, but it's not a requirement.
Okay.
Just state your case, and I think you'll raise a reasonable doubt in the judge's mind.
Do most people fight these types of things, or do they just not bother because it's not worth their time?
I think it really depends if it's worth their time or not, like you're saying. If the people have the time to go down, a lot of them on principle will want to fight it because they feel strongly about it, and there's no argument against that. The problem is some people have to take an entire day off, drive all the way down there, gas, parking, time for a $20 ticket. Even if they're right, it's frustrating, but sometimes they just end up paying it after seeking a consultation. They hear what I have to say, and they just say, well, I guess you're right, it's frustrating, but I'll pay it, even though I don't feel I owe it.
I'm also assuming that if I go down there, I'm not going to have to pay it. I can think of how frustrated I would be if I had to drive all the way down there and then plus the $20.
Right, imagine.
Would there be court costs as well if I'm found guilty?
There probably would be. Here in Quebec, there are, yes.
So that 20 could turn into 100?
Not that much. No, that 20 can turn into a 30 or 40 type of deal.
Wow. Okay. Well, good to know. I've got some food for thought. I don't have to decide right away.
No.
I think I have a month to decide whether I want to plead guilty or not.
I think in New York you have 15 days. You should check the
15 days. I will check the ticket. It's in my car right now. I'm off. The show's done in 15 minutes. I'm sticking around for the Gang of Four, and I'll check it after that. Avi Levy from ticket911.ca. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure.
Jay Farrar, what's the biggest ticket you've ever gotten?